Hello students, today we will start a new chapter, that is cell, its structure and functions. Before starting this chapter, let us try to recall what we have studied in the lower classes, what we have learnt in the lower classes. In the lower classes, we have learnt about the discovery of the cells, their shape, sizes, structure and so on. So when we talk about the cell, what actually a cell is? What are cells actually? So cells are building blocks, basic building blocks of all living beings on the planet. So when we say that these living beings are made up of cells, the cells present in different living organisms, are they same? Do they have the same shape, size, their structure, their parts? No, the cells present in different living organisms are different. They have different shapes, different sizes, different parts, different structure. Like when we say cells, so we are saying that different living beings have got cells and they differ in their parts, shapes and sizes. When we talk about the parts or when we talk about the shape, sizes, parts present in the plant cell are different from the parts present in the animal cell, even though both of them are living beings. And when we say about the shapes, different cells present in different organs or different animals, they differ in their shapes. Some of them are circular, some of them are rectangular, some of them are cubical and so on. When you talk about the sizes, the size differs. The cells, their sizes differ from organ to organ, organism to organism. When you say the parts, in the plants, we have got plastids, but in the animal cells they do not have the plastids. When we talk about the shapes, I have told you they are different, they have got different shapes. And when you talk about the sizes differ from very small to bigger one. Like when we say the smallest cells measure in microns. When you talk about the biggest cell, we know that ostrich egg is the biggest cell. So like this, the sizes differ, the shapes differ, the parts differ. And also we have studied about the classification of the living beings depending upon the number of cells present in them. So that is division. So depending upon the number of cells present in a living being, we can classify the living organisms into two categories. The first one is unicellular and the second one is multicellular. So what is a unicellular? Unicellular organism, it has only one cell. That means all its functions will be carried out by a single cell. Example, you can take amoeba. You can take many other unicellular organisms like paramecium, euglena and many other unicellular organisms are there, and they carry out all their vital functions with the help of a single cell throughout their life. Whereas when you talk about the multicellular organisms, we can take the example of a human being. Or man. Man or human being is made up of trillions of cells. We know that human being's body is very complex body. It has got various organs, organ systems. All of them together constitute a human being. So in multicellular organisms we have got millions, trillions of cells, whereas in unicellular organism we have got a single cell with the help of which it carries out all its activities. So when we talk about the cell, we have studied that the cells are made up of different parts, they have got different shapes, they have got different sizes, and when we talk about the division, this we have also studied in our lower classes. So division, depending upon the number of cells present in an individual, the living organisms can be categorized or divided into two types: unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Unicellular organism, example we say amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and multicellular organisms we have taken the example of the human being. We can take many other examples, many animals, plants. Okay, so in this way cells are actually constituting the total makeup of any living being. So living beings are made up of cells. So when we talk about the cell, cell has got different parts inside it. So I told you different parts are present inside the cell. Like we have got nucleus, we have got mitochondria, so we have got many other parts inside the cell. But I have told you that the parts present in the plants may not be present in the parts present in the animal cell. Like I have told you, plastids present in the plant cell are absent in the animal cell. And also in plants we have got a bigger vacuole, whereas the vacuole present inside the animal cell is very small or it is absent totally. So what are actually these called as? These are the parts of the cell. Okay, we can call them as organelles. These are the organelles of the cell. So these organelles are very, very small. We cannot see them with our naked eye. First of all, we cannot see the cell with the naked eye, very small. So cells have been studied under the microscopes. We know that Robert Hooke and Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, all these people have studied these microscopic structures under the microscopes. So the instrument used to study the cell or its organelles is called as microscope. So with the help of the microscope we are going to study the structures or organelles present in the cell. So in this lesson we are going to study about the structure of the cell and the organelles present inside the cell. To see them, I have told you we have to use a microscope. There are different types of microscopes. They are simple microscope, then we have got compound microscope, and then we have got electron microscope. So we can clearly see we have got different types of instruments to observe the very small cell organelles which cannot be seen with the naked eye. They can be seen with the help of the instruments called microscopes. These are all microscopes. So with the help of the microscopes we can study the structures or organelles present inside the cell, their functions. So there are different types of microscopes. This simple microscope will be helping us to see only the parts which are easily seen. That means the external parts like cell membrane, those things can be seen with the help of the simple microscope. Compound microscope will help us to see some more organelles present inside the cell, but electron microscope helps us to see clearly the structures present inside the cell. So with the help of these things we can study the cell structures, their organelles. So in this chapter we are going to study the cell organelles which are very important for the functioning of the cell, and these different cell organelles present inside the cell, they perform different functions. So we are going to study about the cell organelles and their functions.